Welcome to MedTech Smarts with Rita, the podcast that gives MedTech startups the insights and clarity they need to build strong, scalable, and compliant medical device companies. I'm Anna Crook, and I'm here with Rita King, a regulatory strategist and the driving force behind hundreds of successful startup journeys. Rita is the CEO of MethodSense, a regulatory consulting firm that's been guiding medical device companies for over 25 years. She brings more than 35 years of global experience in regulatory strategy, quality systems, and product development. She supports startups with their FDA and investor strategies, and she's also the visionary behind Lumen Logic, a regulatory compliance platform designed to help medtech companies move from concept to compliant operation with clarity, integration, and confidence. Joining us today is also Evangelia Evdiman, Vice President of Quality at MethodSense and a recognized expert in quality systems with over 25 years of experience. She supports medical device companies through audits, inspections, and global compliance. Today, we're starting a new series on one of the most important regulatory shifts in the industry, the Quality Management System Regulation, also known as QMSR. We're beginning with a simple but critical question. What is QMSR, and why did FDA make this change? Evangelia, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Evangelia, what is QMSR? I know I said it's Quality Management System Regulation, but what does that mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So QMSR at the high level is the latest updated quality regulation for medical devices. Recently, it became effective on February 2nd, 2026. And one of the most important changes that the FDA actually did was to incorporate by reference ISO 13485 clauses within their own regulation. That means that ISO 13485, which is an international quality standard used across global markets, can now be used as the main guideline and the main regulatory reference for compliance within quality management systems. At the same time, FDA also retained separate framework around labeling, packaging, complaint management, and record management to ensure compliance with federal regulations within the US, as well as other reporting obligations. So in practice, companies now need to understand both the ISO 13485 framework, as well as the specific US expectations that remain.
So, Rita, why would you say that the FDA chose to make this change now?
Yes, this is a great question. So there are two parts actually to it, and the first one is pretty straightforward, harmonization. FDA had to really align with other international regulations, and really the main international regulation for quality is ISO 13485. ISO 13485 has been used not only in Europe, but also has been adopted around the world. And FDA is trying to support and demonstrate that the industry can operate under the same foundation. However, as Evangelia said, there are national deviations that FDA had to take into account. And again, as Evangelia explained, those have been included in the QMSR. But I believe that there is an additional reason for utilizing QMSR. And I'm a firm believer that FDA has a great intention behind it to make sure that supports industry in their thinking about creating better devices. So they have seen industry treating quality as a checklist. They see it during the audits that they are performing. They see it when complaints coming to them. And they would like to see, particularly the US market, to continue to lead the world and treat quality as an integrated system that can actually inform decisions so that we can truly create safer products and build this way efficiency inside the organization. I also believe that this is driven because FDA knows the pressures that particularly smaller companies and innovators are really faced because they have an interest in creating safer products, but when there is so much pressure from other reasons, such as like capital investment and deadlines, they can actually, those types of things, then those types of pressures end up a lot of times getting on the way of quality. So FDA would, I believe that they really would like us to think in a more integrated way with a more integrated system so that at the end, again, we can make decisions that can support the safer products that we want to create.
Gotcha. So, Evangelia, would you say that this is really a shift in behavior and not just structure?
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. The simplest way to describe it is that it is a shift from being reactive to actually being proactive. So, in the past, many companies were focusing on creating a quality management system that reflected the regulatory requirements of FDA 21 CFR Part 820 and creating records that demonstrated compliance to those exact procedures. But now the expectation is that these records have to actually be informative to the next steps that the company needs to take and the decisions that are needed for the overall compliance and health of the organization. So you need to obtain information, analyze this information, the trends, understand the risks associated with them, connect all this information across complaints, design, manufacturing, as well as any other post-market feedback that you might receive. So the system, your quality system, is no longer just a static record of information, but it is intended to guide and inform what you need to do next.
Yes, and I want to add more to it that while we're discussing operational changes, I believe it's also a different way of thinking. Because for years, again, companies have been conditioned to think in terms of quality as a checklist, passing an audit, making sure we know when the deadline is for a particular item to be sent to the FDA, let's say. But what they are asking us to think is about the health of their organization. Can we really utilize quality to really understand what is the next document or information that I really need to produce? So FDA, in their own way, they're asking us to take responsibility of the risks and the decisions that we're making, and they would like us to focus on a more risk-based approach. Actually, the risk-based approach is not new. We have been, it has started with the risk management methodologies that we have been implementing, but now it looks like they would like us to integrate it in our overall decision making and thinking and how we operationalize our companies. So we need to be asking questions like, what is my quality system is telling me? What is it showing me about my organization? Do I understand how my company is working? Is it working well as a unit? What additional decisions could I be making based on this information? So it is a little bit of a different way of thinking, and also for the leadership team, it's not just asking the quality manager to provide information that can confirm that we have procedures in place, but again, truly understand, are we healthy as a company, and are we making the right decisions?
So, Evangelia, what are the biggest challenges that you're seeing companies are facing with this shift?
The biggest challenge that we interpret this regulatory change to create is the need for integration. Most companies have procedures to manage the complaints that they receive from the market, for creating new designs for their products, analyzing design risks or manufacturing risks, as well as creating quality records that demonstrate compliance. But those systems don't talk to each other. They are not always connected. So you do not have a closed loop system in the way. So even if the data exists, it is not used in a coordinated way. And it makes it very difficult to operate proactively.
And we can probably also say that the proactive way of operating is not because somebody had a bad intention or they don't care about quality. I truly believe that companies and people want to do the right thing. And they truly want safe products in the market and compliant products, just like the FDA wants. But the challenge comes when we're under pressure. And innovative products and innovative companies, they do operate under a lot of pressure of time, funding, other demands inside the company. Because one thing about innovation is that you really do not know as you are innovating whether you're going to run into challenges that you did not anticipate. So when on top of this, now you have the existing framework that we had that, again, it was treated mostly as a checklist. And when we had multiple fragmented systems, even if you use automation, you still had to go from one system to the other. That limits the visibility among the different people. It creates silos within the organization. And we did not have a true integration. Even though the intentions are good, we still ended up with potentially reactive decisions. So now we have a true opportunity with this new QMSR to not only update our quality management systems to comply with the regulation, but to ask the question, how can we take this new regulation and how can we use it to make it easier for all of us to do the right thing and do the right thing consistently?
So, for our listeners out there, Rita and Evangelia, what should they really be asking themselves?
I'll go next. I'll go first. So, if you're listening today, what you should ask is whether your processes are truly connected, such as to allow you to make better decisions around your processes. Using the risk as a measuring point to drive the safety of your products overall. Alternatively, you can consider this. You can alternatively you can consider evaluating how these procedures, the intent of these procedures really. And if you understand the intent of these procedures, then obviously always the main goal is safety. So you want to have this better information. You want to have better data connected with each other to support your organization and of course the market overall. If your procedures are not connected and they're separate, then that's probably the biggest gap that you have on your quality management system at this time.
And I would say, in addition to being connected, it's also being right-sized. And I think what Evangelia mentioned about the intent of, in a way, the regulation or the intent of the procedure, it's all true. And I will also add, as I have been saying, one more thing, that we want to start asking the question about, does my quality management system allows me to understand the health of my company and not oh no, here is the QMSR, I'm going to create more documentation and this is on top of what I already have. But instead, we want to be able to say, by incorporating quality in a more integrated way, and now in one framework that actually is well harmonized internationally, we can actually have an opportunity to understand our business better. And as we said earlier, we want to be driving towards making better decisions. And I believe that if we focus on the QMSR as an opportunity, we are really creating a shift, not only in the industry, but in our thinking. And again, the purpose of quality in general. So I would very much love to see the organizations utilizing quality as a way for a better future and more efficiency.
So, everything we're discussing, integration, proactive systems, better decisions, that all makes sense to me. But I've noticed that many companies are working with multiple tools, and that means disconnected processes. So, Rita, how do they actually move in that direction?
Yeah, this is really the challenge. So understanding the QMSR is the easy part. The most challenging part is how do we operationalize what we really are discussing today. So a lot of companies have not been designed to support this level of integration. So we do see again really good people with really good knowledge, very smart and great innovation, but they are fragmented in the visibility and in their decisions being a little bit more reactive. So what we have done over the years, we've been in business now for 26 years, and this is something that we have been sharing and discussing with companies since our inception, and that is how can we help companies translate the regulatory expectations into a way of operating better, in a way that we can operate so that the systems work, and how can we get out of the theory and make it again real with real examples and right-sized quality management systems.
Evangelia, can you speak a little bit to how, if systems aren't aligned, what does that mean for companies?
Yeah, so in a practical sense, that means connecting all the information together. If your systems are not aligned, it becomes very difficult to use your data effectively or make any informative decisions, really. When your systems are integrated, they are connected, then using this information becomes second nature. It supports decision making instead of slowing it down.
And of course, this is also the reason that MethodSense not only has been supporting companies with quality and regulatory decisions and different systems, but also with Looming Logic, which is our regulatory compliance platform. And it's a very different way of thinking, because this is not just another tool. It has all the traditional EQMS and regulatory expectations from the features and functions, but it's the mentality, it's how we're thinking and how the tool is intended to bring that ecosystem together, to bring quality, regulatory, operational information all in one place. We want to see the entire ecosystem, from the CEO to the manufacturing worker to the suppliers, everybody working together in an integrated way, use that information again to make better decisions. So again, we believe that the industry is finally ready. Again, we've been practicing for decades now, but we believe that all these changes can help us create better organizations.
Ultimately, QMSR is not just a regulatory update. It's the FDA pushing the industry toward a more integrated, proactive way of operating. And the companies that understand that shift and build around it will be in a much stronger position than those that treat this as a documentation exercise. For our listeners, our friends at MethodSense and Lumen Logic created a short QMSR readiness snapshot, a practical self-assessment to help you evaluate where your organization stands today. It's not about checking boxes. It's about understanding whether your system is truly supporting proactive, integrative decision making. You can download that using the link in the show notes. In our next episode, we'll go deeper into one of the most common questions we hear: how QMSR compares to ISO 13485, and where companies are often getting that wrong. Thanks for joining us on MedTech Smarts with Rita.